We know that at one point, Ben Affleck's Daredevil, Dinopool, and Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider were going to appear in Deadpool and Wolverine. Up until now, we've known very little in terms of how they were going to be utilized and what sort of look they were going to have. Well, that's all changed due to new concept art, so let's talk about it. And also how it changes the final battle. So obviously, for whatever reason, whether it was contractual, whether it was money disputes, whether it was timing, we did not get Dinopool, we did not get Ghost Rider played by Nicolas Cage, and we did not get Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Now, some of these they've talked a little bit more about in terms of what happened. Ben Affleck, they never even reached out to him, as he was just one of those early pie-in-the-sky, hey, we might do this, but again, we got to see what direction we're going in with the film. Dinopool, there was a lot of rumors and even direct teases on the set of the film that we might be seeing the character, and from what people have said, that was a sort of mid-production removal, which honestly makes a lot of sense, I think, just because you didn't want to toss that in there out of nowhere, and there's more merchandise and money to be made off that character. And then Nicolas Cage, that was a thing that they talked about where they actually met with him, but talks didn't go on any further. So knowing all that, here is the concept art revealing all three of those players in action. So first up, let's jump into, I guess Dinopool is a good one to start with. So here, yeah, it's a dinosaur that's Deadpool. It's pretty self-explanatory. Again, it's a interesting take, and I personally think that they're maybe saving this for something like Savage Land or some sort of variant like that, or maybe even just save it for Secret Wars when you do the portals type scene. Guess what happens when a Deadpool army rides in on a T-Rex Deadpool? Yeah, the theaters will go mental, and the merchandise sales, because dinosaur sells, will be through the roof. Next up, here is Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. Again, a very cool character, a very amazing character, depending on how he's portrayed and who's writing him in the comics. And to me, this is like the one that I wish would have made it in, but again, saving him for down the road just makes a whole lot of sense. And obviously, they had the conversation, and the conversation seems to have gone decently enough that I think they're going to get back to it, and it will happen. So, pretty cool to see that he's here. Before we get to Daredevil, I just also want to talk about this scene right here. Obviously, this depicts a giant Deadpool and Wolverine versus a bunch of Deadpool's battle. Clearly, this is early concept art of what would have been the third act. So it's not on the bus, it's just completely different, a different approach to this. And you can see how all these cameos could have fit in here. But again, they changed the direction. And I think what they did in the third act honestly works in favor instead of overblowing it to this level of, hey, cameos and all these things going on. And finally, let's talk about Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Now, I'm somebody who really loves the director's cut of the film. I think the theatrical cut of the film was fine as it was, and I think Ben Affleck did a good enough job. I still think it's one of the better comic book films of the 2000s. That's just my opinion again. And I would have liked to see him back, but again, they just couldn't move past, hey, do we need this character, according to them, and they decided, no, let's use Elektra here. I honestly think that this is just them waiting. They know it's going to happen. I think he will be back. I think he's definitely going to play that character again. And Doomsday or Secret Wars seems so prime for it. So it's cool to see all this and this great battle. But ultimately, I think what we got in the end is better than just tossing this in here and then it's done. It'll be more impactful when the story calls for it at a more grandiose scale, in my opinion.